Hi everyone, my name is Christina Manwa, and for today's video, I'll be sharing a history that was narrated to me by one of the elders of Andresan clan. He shared to me his experiences as an IP miners in Mount Diwalwal, Moncayo, Davao de Oro. So without further ado, let me begin my presentation. So the title of my study is called When the Mount of Gold Turned into Mount of Descent, a historical narrative of the indigenous people small-scale miners in Mount Diwata, Moncayo, Davao de Oro. The discovery of gold nuggets in Diwalwal by a group of Lumad led by Camilo Banad on September 22, 1983 prompted some of the indigenous people to pan for gold along the creeks of the mountains. Those who were successful in securing a capital or have made money from panning started digging tunnels into the mountain. The story of Diwalwal of gold discovery spread fast and far, triggering a gold rush. Soon, more than 100 tunnels were dug as mining financiers eagerly operated the area. The exodus of financiers as well as fortune seekers from across Mindanao outnumbered the Lumads, who were later relegated as mine workers or small tunnel operators. As more miners and financiers bore, the Walwal government failed to intervene and regulate mining activities. Without government intervention, tunnels dug by miners crossed paths, resulting to tensions and fighting among mine workers as well as security forces deployed by mining companies in the tunnels. As more tunnels crossed paths, more armed men were let loose in and out of the tunnels by different mining interests. By 1984, violence descended into the tunnels and above ground to the extent that the area was referred to as Wild Wild West. When the violence simmered down in 1986, Banad returned and operated a gold processing plant in Diwalwal. Banad, however, left again amidst a catastrophic landslide that killed reportedly about 1,000 persons in 1987. Other Lumas, particularly those who remained in Diwalwal and worked in San Andres Tunnel, were initially spared from the violence. The first of the armed men deployed by more powerful and wealth mining financiers were also Lumads and mostly distant relatives of the Andresans. As the years wore on, tunnel owners began deploying armed men recruited from other parts of the country. The newly deployed armed men began harassing Andresan's group and other Lumads in the tunnels, prompting them to stop operations and withdrew from the area. Few of the Lumads continued to maintain tunnels but closely aligned their operations with the more powerful, wealthy, and well-armed mining financiers in the area. It was in 1983 that the gold was discovered by a Lumad in the creeks of Mount Diwata, leading to a gold rush, causing the population to rise rapidly to 125,000, who were mostly miners and living in shanties along the 2-kilometer logging road where the gold mine veins are located. The violence and marginalization experienced by Lumads have resulted in loyalty to their ethno-linguistic origins, but now their loyalty lies to the mining companies who they are working for or aligned with. Competitions among indigenous people in Diwalwal began since the discovery of gold in the area. Lumads did not work as a block but established partnerships and worked with groups with conflicting business interests in the area. As corporations and mining cooperatives battled for the control of Diwalwal, conflicts over rights of the gold-rich area also brewed in the background. Prior to the discovery of gold in Mount Diwata, there are indigenous people living in the areas. They live a simple life. They can provide food from tilling lands. The area is rich in natural resources, both flora and fauna. However, this was changed when the gold was discovered. It was described to me that the people at that time are very excited of their newfound fortune. The scene is in circus. Many entrepreneurs open business because people have high purchasing power. Because of the influx of financiers, many makeshift houses were built. The discovery of gold led the indigenous people to become miners. Prior to the discovery of gold, the idea of being rich and poor is not something the indigenous people have in-depth understanding. They were really contented. However, the exodus of financiers has introduced the idea of being wealthy to the Lumads and what acquiring gold equates or means. After a few years, fortune seekers from across Mindanao outnumbered the Lumads, who were later relegated as mine workers or small tunnel operators. It was very unfortunate that Lumads were marginalized into profit sharing and have less profit because they don't have money, goods, and guns to support a tunnel. It was narrated to me that prior to the discovery of gold in Mount Diwata or Mount Diwalwal, Lumads are already occupying in the area and they wear a traditional dress. They have indigenous music that is part of their every celebration, and men and women are dancing during their celebration as well. They also have traditional medicines if ever they get sick. They speak Mandaya as their language, and they have traditional foods such as nilotlot, which they love to eat and is always a part of their celebration. However, as they become miners, they need to suit up as miners and wear botas and helmet, and that is to protect themselves in case of falling debris. Now, I would like to share to all of you if I can imagine myself living at that time. I feel like I would be excited to be part of the pioneer group who have discovered gold in Mount Diwata. I mean, financially wise, that could have been a jackpot. However, the death, the datas of death, violence, environmental destruction such as landslide isn't um, exactly the kind of life I really wanted in my life. I think fitting in that kind of world would be difficult for me, considering that I know now what should be the standard way of living. So, that is all that I can share. I hope you have learned something from the history of Mount Diwata and the indigenous people, miners in Mount Diwata. And that would be all. Thank you.